In episode 8, we learn who was picked for the face-to-face murder, while the Faithfuls finally look to put a nail in the coffin theory. Before this episode, Sierra, Ivor and Sam were the ones I thought they not only had less of the edit, but that when we did hear them, we weren't presented with much about their thoughts like some of the others. This was not the case in this episode, as we saw more from Sierra and Sam, but for different reasons. In his commentary, Sam talked about being more of a listener rather than a talker, giving us a bit of an understanding as to why we might not have seen much of him in the edits. Sam suggested that if one of the players that was supposedly up for murder was actually a traitor, then they wouldn't have seen Alan and couldn't describe what he was wearing. The ones up for murder had entered breakfast one by one, so it was an opportunity to test it out. This would have posed as a problem for Carolyn, as she was supposedly up for murder. Carolyn was floundering until Tom interjected and ruined the plan by describing it himself. All the Faithfuls were worried for everyone except for the one I thought would be murdered. For some reason I thought Dolores was going to be their pick, which wasn't my previous thought. In the space between when I put up my video about episode 7 and before watching this episode, I actually thought they would go for Chrishell. I thought Carolyn would want to save Gabby while Danielle would want to keep Dylan, keeping Tom as someone whose suspicion might fall to if they thought a recruitment had happened. The latest victim ended up being Chrishell. With the face-to-face murder, she was able to ask why she was picked. No surprise that the answer was that she was too faithful to be banished. A far cry from being the first suspicion many had straight after the traitors were picked. Another Bambi has departed, leaving only Gabby remaining. Only lasting 15 seconds in the mission really came back to bite Chrishell. In her commentary, Chrishell said she wasn't surprised to see Danielle. I was surprised Chrishell said that. I don't recall her saying this to anyone else in the game. No surprise that she was shocked to see Carolyn. She's really not on anyone's radar at the moment. Will the traitors, or at least Danielle, come to regret keeping Tom around? He brought up the round table beef that occurred between Carolyn and Danielle, asking Carolyn in front of others what it was all about. With Tom questioning his thoughts on Dolores, it seems he was redirecting his suspicions elsewhere. Sam was looking to revisit the coffin theory of a traitor putting themselves in there. With Jeremy murdered and Nikki banished, that left Sierra in a precarious position. It didn't help that she was the only one along with Rob who voted for Brittany in the previous roundtable. We saw Sierra being vocal about her suspicions of the alliance between Brittany and Danielle, not only thinking that they'll take each other to the end, but maybe one or both of them could be a traitor. Sierra hasn't been buying what she deems as Danielle's theatrics. She's mentioned previously about Danielle's tears, but she was even more vocal about it in this episode. In Brittany's commentary, she said she trusts Danielle and has her back, also saying she's fairly sure Danielle is a faithful. I was surprised, as I thought Brittany might have an inkling to Danielle being a traitor and was keeping that card close to her chest. I'm so glad they repeated this mission from the UK season 3. It's stupidly entertaining hearing them trying to sing the backward nursery rhymes. It shouldn't be so funny, yet it made me laugh. Tom singing down the phone even made Alan break into laughter. Coupled with them being sprayed with water while in the dollhouse, this was proven to be one of the most entertaining missions of the season. With only those in the dollhouse being in with a chance of winning the shield, at first it seemed like most of them were mainly looking for it, but in the end they did put in an effort to win some money. This mission really was Tom's to shine in his main singer role. As we're getting closer to the final, this is where I feel like the Faithfuls really need to be aware of alliances that started outside of the game, even if you think they're both Faithfuls. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched season 2, though I'm not sure why you haven't. CT and Trishell's history on the challenge played into the fact that they voted down until it was the two of them. With no role reveals in the final this season, I believe alliances like Brittany and Danielle's will be even more pivotal. Sometimes in this game you need to take a faithful out to help you win, even though in this case only one of them is a faithful. Ivor and Sam mostly led the charge against Sierra with the coffin theory. Even though it's more likely that a traitor wouldn't put themselves in a coffin, the theory needed to be tested. Like with Derek, Rob and Wes entering the game late, the doubt that one of them is a traitor will linger even more so if any of them had made it to the final, where roles are not going to be revealed. With so little to go on, they can only cling on to what they have or don't in Sierra's case. What was disappointing from Sierra's point of view was that the discussions were mostly directed at her. She brought up Brittany and Danielle's name, but we never saw that go very far. A few others were shown to be quiet, just watching it all play out, which ended up with some voting with the crowd. Dolores actually said she voted for Sierra because her vote would not save her. I think that was nonsense to admit. Not sure if this will go down well with the others and if they might start looking at Dolores now. It can also be something that can help the traitors if they really want to use Dolores. It was a landslide with everyone voting for Sierra while Sierra voted for Brittany. Sierra was banished, meaning finding the shield was for nothing. I resisted talking about a certain thing because I didn't know if it was a health thing or part of the act, but with more than one faithful mentioning it, I thought it was time to finally bring it up. It was something I've noticed for a few episodes. Danielle's shaking. I've mostly noticed it at the round table, but it was very clear when she did it while sitting with Dylan at the bar. It's definitely something that has raised some eyebrows and maybe something the faithful will use against her. Danielle's act has made Dylan, who trusted her, start to question her role in this game. At first I was wondering if Dylan, as he came out from behind the bookcase, had heard Danielle say to Carolyn that she'll talk to her in the turret. Danielle told Carolyn the truth about Sierra finding the shield. It surprised me as I thought she would keep it quiet. Carolyn will need to pretend she doesn't know it, especially as she was in the room when Tom said the shield didn't walk out with Sierra, but he didn't divulge who had it. Alan offered Carolyn and Danielle the choice to either murder or recruit. With Danielle wanting to recruit and Carolyn wanting to murder, it started off yet another bout of conflict between the two. Add the fact that Danielle wants to recruit Brittany, it sprinkled more accelerant onto an angry fire. I don't know why Danielle thinks Carolyn would agree to this. The only thing that works for her is that they are both more suspected than she is, but if she can't trust Danielle in general, why would she trust that she's trying to offer the faithfuls a female traitor in Brittany? While they can possibly hide a recruitment, there's no guarantee that who is picked will accept. If they were to murder instead, do they go with someone who was in the castle or go for someone in the dollhouse?